All right, so let's do this. So today we've got some brand new updates around the upcoming Horde mode, some teases there, and yes, new stuff is coming our way when that finally drops. Plus, a new interview with the dev team, and they reveal some very big news about the technology used in this game and how this could actually be very useful for the upcoming Horde mode, possible expansions, and even Space Marine 3. And yes, it looks like we're getting new Warhammer 40k games beyond Space Marine 2, and a very unpopular opinion that has become, well, kind of popular as well, but also has ruffled some feathers, so we'll dive into that, plus one perk the dev team probably needs to take a second look at. And if you are new, welcome aboard, smack that subscribe button, and leave a comment down below, because later in the video, I am going over your top comments, so that should be a good one. But let's go over what is happening today with Space Marine 2, so check it out right here. Here's the question: have you guys thought of an invasion mechanic for certain operations, effectively changing the enemy from chaos, nids, and vice versa, done with 2 enemy waves hitting at once, causing a 3-way fight? Very interesting question. Now, Oliver, our creative director, responded saying this: we are releasing a Horde mode at the end of our season pass. That will certainly add some new things into the mix, though I can't confirm anything yet. Now, that is a huge tease there. The potential for all-out 3-way warfare is really, really cool. That's not suggesting that's what he's exactly saying here, but he is suggesting that something new is brewing behind that Horde mode, which sounds really cool. Now, the dev team also did a brand new interview and revealed some very interesting things happening under the hood for the actual engine, and this has some implications as to what we could potentially expect from the Horde mode and even future Space Marine games. So check this out right here. Space Marine 2's game director can't wait for Warhammer Dating Sim, as he says to expect bolder 40k video games in the future. Now, hold up, some of you may panic hearing that headline. He was being sarcastic and over-exaggerating about a dating simulator for, the 40k universe, but he's saying, again, like, the potential is limitless. That's kind of what he's saying. So let's get into the actual article first, because I know some of you probably like, what the hell? Anyway, it says this right here: during a recent chat with Space Marine 2's game director Dmitry Grigorenko and creative director Oliver Hollis-Leck, a large part of our conversation revolved around Space Marine 2's technology. It was very challenging to make the technology behind it work, admits Grigorenko, but it's hard to argue with the result. As I said in my Space Marine 2 review, it really does feel like you've stepped into an intergalactic shootout. But is this a glimpse into the future of Warhammer games? A grimmer, darker future. So it goes on to say this: it's all about what kind of game you want to make, because the universe is vast and you can make a game out of anything. I can't wait for a dating simulator, but I mean, I'm making a joke, but maybe someone is going to make it eventually. It's all about what do you want to make. It's not about, the technical quality. Now, Grigorenko points out that even Space Marine 2's technical achievement was driven by the passion of its developers, a team made up of many 40k fans. You could really feel it, by the way. A funny thing about the background battles that you saw in the game, just a little secret for you: all of those battles in the background, obviously, they're far away. They're really simplified, but these are real units, and they actually shoot and kill each other, and they're actually fighting, he says, grinning. There was zero reason to do that. Our programmers just did it for the sake of doing that. We were like, okay, actually, you can make a real-time strategy out of this. We can actually command those guys. You can do it in our engine, but we couldn't figure out how to make it work. And we could also see it kind of working in real time right here. The Tyranids have accepted me as one of their own. And look at this. This is kind of like a glitch, but we get right into the action of the Tyranid swarm. And as you can clearly see, that these are all actually 3D modeled characters in real time. Nope, it's not like a 2D sprite thing going on here or an illusion. So this is extremely impressive, and also kind of telling what they can pull off here with the upcoming Horde mode. Massive amounts of units on screen at the same time. Of course, they did say the AI is simplified here for those background units, but there's massive potential for future 40 games, bigger, better. Yeah, they could do a lot, but it would be really, really cool, I gotta say, if we did see a real-time strategy game, of course, around what we are currently seeing and in this engine. Now, they did go on to say this right here as well. Does this mean that we can expect Grigorenko to head a real-time strategy spin-off? By the Chaos Gods, no, I don't want to do an RTS, he says, laughing, but I don't know. Maybe someone else will do it. I think there's a lot of potential in what we've made. We've made a rocket and launched it to the Earth's orbit, but we can add a new engine and launch it to the moon. So, They are definitely over there mulling over ideas considering what the future holds for the 40K franchise in the video game space. And I gotta admit, I'm very excited to see what is next. But back to Space Marine 2. Check it out right here. We have an unpopular opinion that's kind of like popular here. Check it out. It says this, unpopular opinion: we don't really need any new class ASAP. Oh boy. For now, we need more variety in builds in existing classes. There is nothing like it for now. To be honest, all perks lead us to the same build. With some exceptions, champion class could be easily replaced with proper build on tactical or bulwark if it exists. More weapons and more perks that we can vary in proper ways is way better than creating totally new classes with a single ability. It will only result in creating another only one build possible to play. Now, an example, Darktide provides us with only 4 classes, but literally 12 ways to play them differently and interesting synergies with different weapons with those builds. Give us Power Claws and more aggressive perks to play Assault. Give Bulwark two-handed weapons and no offensive abilities. Give Sniper proper melee weapons and some interesting perks to play with. Make different abilities in classes perk tree that we can change. There are a lot of ways to make the game feel different, but for now, devs have locked us to play it all the same way. Literally, all the perks aren't trash, but definitely just not interesting and having nothing really game-changing in its core. Another example is Bulwark has 3 perks in one category, but 2 of them are just stat-changing, and one of them is creating Shock Zone with perfect parry. It is game-changing perk that is not that interesting to play, but still the only viable and interesting option. Now, Tactical also got some perks in a category that are not giving you anything, almost, but then you see Aspects buff and play only this one. Whole community is locked in with it, and there is a total lack of variety today. Yeah, it would be nice to see them update the perk tree, of course, for existing classes, but of course, I still want an entirely new class. I'm very excited for that prospect of getting a new class in there as well. So I'm kind of torn. It would be nice if they could do it all at once, of course, and give us everything that we want. But I got to ask you guys, what is priority in your mind? Do you want to see the classes kind of reworked? Now, the most high priority thing for me currently above all of this is new operations. I want to see more operations in the game. I think that's what a lot of players want to see. But we have this right here. I think they need to take a second look on the current classes before they add new ones. I can find bad or straight up useless perks on every single class. Assault is the biggest offender, of course. My favorite example of what I'm talking about is one of his signatures that reloads ranged weapons on jump pack use, when the only 2 ranged weapons he has are 2 pistols that reload in half a second. Who even put this in there? Yeah, so people are like, yeah, what? Seriously? Yeah, if they can do an overhaul eventually to a lot of these systems, that sure would be nice. Of course, not mess with what is currently working. That's not what I'm saying, but buff and give new perks that really do matter and impact gameplay in a very valuable way would be super cool to see. All right, so we also have this one right here. The perk that gives 10% melee damage at full armor feels like it's pointless. With the amount of ranged ship damage, just feels like it's a perk you basically never benefit from. Definitely feel like this perk could use another look at, because as it is now, it feels like a perk point that I have to waste just to progress the perk tree. That's always a bummer when that happens. If we scroll down here, it says agreed. It should be plus 10% melee damage while you have any armor remaining. For the sake of balance, I could see making it require 1 armor bar minimum or having 50% plus of your total armor, but it still shouldn't be a full armor requirement. A lot of people agree with this one for sure. 348 upvotes. So yeah, again, a specific perk there that seems wasteful, and time again, we've run into this within the perk trees for sure. Now also, a request to the dev team right here, Focus Entertainment. I'm gonna need you to do me a favor and give me this half mask with the Sam Fisher goggles down and the green hood over it so it could look like a proper sneaky beaky. Thank you in advance. It looks badass, I gotta say. I really hope that they consider adding something like this in the game. That would be really cool. I second that request. A man of culture. Yes. So it seems like everyone's clamoring for that one as well. Now, we have this one. For those wanting proper Deathwatch customization in multiplayer, please upvote this idea. Hi all, apologies if this sort of post isn't loud. I couldn't see anything regarding it. Those of us who want to customize our Marines as Deathwatch in multiplayer have sadly found that unless we want Raven Guard or Templar, that we cannot do so properly, as those are the only 2 chapter icons available on the right pauldron. If you're affected by this, or even if you're not and would like to support lore-appropriate Deathwatch Marines in your game, please upvote this idea on the suggestion forum so that the devs can see it. I'm going to link that idea, by the way. It says, I don't know that much about game dev, but I would hope this sort of fix is quite simple one that could be pushed out very quickly. It's very clear the devs of the game value the lore and have done an absolutely fantastic job of representing everything. And so I chalk this up to some sort of oversight, especially as the DW pauldron, etc. is available to unlock. Maybe look at get to it, So that's one thing. There's probably certain limitations within the dev time, to pull off absolutely everything they want to do, but it seems like they really want to lean into customization as we go forward. Also, I did want to note something about that specific post. That right there is how you give feedback. I love how respectful this person was to the dev team, despite having a feature that he really, really wanted in the game and not having it. Yeah, that's the way to do it, and that's when the dev team, I think, would take a look and be like, hey, we might actually consider that. So yeah. All right, so we have this. Man, this grand total of 3 maps in PvP is really starting to hurt. Can't we just port over some PvE locations? They don't even have ranked or leaderboards either. Yeah, it would be really nice. That's one reason why, yeah, PvP is a little bit rough for me, because I do wish I had more locations. I hop in there on occasion, but yeah, it just gets a little bit redundant for me personally because they need more maps in PvP. We do know we're going to get new PvP content, so that's really, really cool. But also, I'm not going to lie, I spend a lot of my time in PvE. That's where the core of my experience is, and I just want them to like triple down, quadruple down on giving us new operations maps. All right, so yes, now it's time to go over your top comments. Remember, if you are new, be sure to smack that subscribe button, turn on that bell notification icon, and yes, leave a comment because could end up right here in a future video. We have this one right here. It says, I'm patiently waiting to dress up as a Grey Knight. Hell yes. 50 replies. A lot of people really, really want that in the future. And also, we got, when I see struggling teammates in harder difficulties, I take it as an opportunity to stress test myself. When your teammates are down and you're the only one left standing, bask in the glory that will be your triumphant stand. I don't kick people unless they're being toxic in chat or intentionally trolling the game to lose. Other than that, come one, come all, I will carry you. Love this attitude. Yeah, to kick someone just because they're kind of like struggling in Ruthless, you can't tell me that you haven't gone down on Ruthless difficulty and needed a teammate's help to get you back up and running. It happens to everyone. Might not happen as much to some, but it does happen. All right, next up, we have this one right here. I'd like more operations with bosses. I know they take a lot of work to make, so I thought, why not reuse Amora? Just reskin him to look like a high sorcerer and call it a day. He was super fun to fight in the campaign. I bet he'd be fun in operations. Yeah, there's a lot of enemy types I've noticed that aren't existing in operations. Even that like boss battle was badass. I kind of wish they had more of that as well in operations. But yeah, I think that's a fantastic idea for them to kind of revisit campaign type stuff and put it into operations. And it should be, I guess you would say, fairly easy, but I'm not a dev, but the levels are already there. There's a lot of cool potential just to shift that one over into operations. All right, next up, we have this one. No, I don't need Sisters of Battle. Would I enjoy it? Yeah, most definitely. Would I rather see more Marines of some kind? Yes. This game is Space Marines, not the entire Imperium. I'd like to see Firstborn or Grey Knights before Sisters. Okay, 58 upvotes on that one. And then I did see some people saying that they would like to see the Sisters of Battle as well. But yeah, it seems like the majority of you want them to add like new classes, focus on that, Apothecary, Librarian, that sort of thing. So I totally get that for sure. All right, so there it is. The latest happenings around Space Marine 2. I have you guys covered on all the updates coming through the dev team. Let's see what happens in October. We are nearly there. But thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Take care.